is the Put It in the Game podcast. This is the Put It in the Game podcast.
Yes. Welcome in, everyone, to the Put It in the Air podcast. I'm your host, Brendan Casello, a.k.a. East Coast Virus.
And I'm Pascal Rolls Philippe, also known as Punks and Drublick.
Sounds like you forget your name every week.
Honestly, I do. It's not really even a joke. I think I have a problem.
We will call you out enough times in this episode, but who I really want to call out right now is Billy, Baba, Aggie, and Marvelous for not submitting your draft grades. Marvelous, sorry.
Guys, come on.
Please submit
What's
your draft
up?
grades.
Is it really that hard?
I mean, one of you did really well, one of you did mediocrely, and two, you're in the bottom. Whatever, man. Sometimes you got to be in the bottom.
And I mean, they don't really mean anything anyway.
They better not, according to what we've seen so far. Thanks, guys, for tuning in once again. This is between week 2 and 3, episode 3.
Yeah, right? It's going quickly.
Season's going really quickly. A lot of things happened this week. It was a really, really intense week. We had a lot of injuries, a lot of big last-second wins. It was really just quite exciting. So let's.
Yeah, it came down to the wire for a lot of games.
Yeah.
Monday Night Football was really.
Oh man.
Probably one of the most interesting from a fantasy perspective for our league, maybe in a long time.
And for anyone who was watching, which I am sure all of you watched that are in our league, the blood pressure levels combined probably reached an all-time peak. Really good stuff. So we had 3 name changes in our league so far this year. Thanks,
Wow.
guys. We don't want everyone to change your names, but it's kind of nice to see a little bit of shaking things up, and all the teams that changed their names are teams that have been here almost the whole time, and I don't think they've changed their names yet, so this is good. We're welcoming it in.
Is that the effect of the podcast, do you think?
Do you think
that we spurred that?
It might be, or Billy just started a snowball effect where he changed his name prior to the season to steal your face mask from Dollar Bills Destroyers, which I loved Dollar Bills Destroyers.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I miss it.
I actually think that he downgraded his name. It's not bad.
Wow, downgrade,
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was clever before, I think. But, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, and it was classic. I mean, he's had it this whole time, but I kind of feel him. I love my name, but I was thinking about changing it too.
Yeah, I mean, me too, man. I mean, but it's kind of like, you just can't bring myself to do it.
I know, it's, for me, I feel like mine is iconic. I don't want to switch it up.
Yeah.
Punks and Drublick is one of my favorite albums of all time, and it really speaks to my 20s and 30s, so I think that it is appropriate.
I think that one will probably be the longest lasting in our league, along with Great.
Yeah, I don't see that one ever changing.
And Hobos and Shotgun. Oh! Actually, he changed that.
He was one of the first ones. Yeah.
Nice, Marv. Nice.
Well done.
Catch this fade. He's killing it, too. He's doing really well.
Like most years.
Yeah.
Not a surprise.
He's one of those top dogs. Another one of those top dogs actually changed his name to one of the best name changes I think I've seen in my fantasy career. Michael Longfellow went from a really cool name to start, the Jolly Green Ganjas.
Yeah, I made fun of it, but I was just jealous.
I always liked it. I thought it matched his persona.
True.
And he brought one out the bag. He really did it.
He really did. I was impressed when I saw it.
Yeah, it really was a great throwback to Camp Anawana. Mike Longfellow's new team name is Salute Your Short Fellows, a play on his last name, Longfellow. We always called him Shorts or Short Fellow because, he's a short dude, but, he's got a big personality. And one of the best shows on Nickelodeon growing up, I'd say, for anyone that was a kid in the 90s. Salute Your Shorts.
Definitely one of my favorites. There's no doubt.
I'm so happy Sean shouted out Donkey Lips in the chat. Donkey Lips. anyways,
it's great. I love it.
And then the last name change we had, I think, is like more of like a jab at us, but we both like it. Scott changed his name from the basic, just fuckers. Now he's the MILF fuckers, which
I love it. I think that was, of all the suggestions you gave, that was way better than any of them.
Yeah, I mean, I thought maybe the Ansonia, like Dragon Balls or something like that.
No,
might
the
have
MILF
been...
fuckers is number one. He really picked the right move.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like it. We shot fired and shot taken.
You think it was directed at us?
I don't think it was. Yeah, I think he changed it based on what he heard with the previous conversations in the podcast, especially tying him to the chain outside the doghouse. I'm pretty sure he let himself out, and we'll see if Aggie's still in there. But yeah, thanks for changing your names, guys. It's good to have some fresh, new feel into the league.
And very clever way of going about it. Fantasy names are a big thing. People put a lot of effort into them, and I feel like you guys really achieved that with these switch-ups.
We just need a couple more of you, maybe just one or two, one in particular, to change your name.
Yeah.
So, guys, we're going to run something back from last week. We spoke about, I spoke about my last year's performance in the 9th place championship game, being the highest in the consolation brackets ever. So I did a little research.
And so, where did that actually fall, my friend?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was wrong. I even think
were you like kind of wrong, or were you completely wrong?
I mean, I was kind of wrong, but also completely wrong in the fact that I think I guaranteed that I would have the highest consolation score because it's for the bottom 4 teams that don't make the playoffs. So I'm just gonna run it back, and I'm gonna give you guys the all-time top 5.
Please,
starting with number 5.
Give it to us.
Let's start. We have to go back to 2020 week 16. The Boston Bulldogs put up a 178.34. That's the 5th highest score in the consolation bracket.
Okay.
He did finish in 9th. Congratulations, Jay, that year for being the best loser.
Right.
Then Babalu, the G-Men's Crusaders, in 2015, week 15, put up a 180.36. Ended up finishing in 10th, but 180.36 in the consolation's dope.
Yeah, that's a lot of points.
3rd overall, 2023 week 16, the East Coast Virus, the score that I thought couldn't be compared to, with a 202.6, finishing in 9th.
Oh, that hurts.
Fell to 3rd. So there was 2 performances that were better than what I thought might be the all-time best performance. One of them came in 2019, just 4 years prior, in week 15, to the 9th place overall team that year, Punxsutawney.
Ooh.
Yeah, so Pascal won 9th place that year, so he was the best loser.
I won 9th place. Well put, thank you.
And then in 2015, in week 15, the 9th place winner of the entire league, the 9th place winner, was also Punxsutawney Pascal. So
look at me.
He didn't even know that it was actually 2 eggs on my face.
I did not care. I really did not.
It's a weird
stat. This is one of those flexes that you thought was important, but you were the only one.
Yeah.
But now, seeing that I have the 2 highest scores, I now think it's important too.
See, well, it's not that great to find yourself on a list of the bottom achievements. So
now I will say this though. Have we talked about my idea of making the losers bracket the setup for the draft?
Not on the podcast, but in person, yes. And I really like this idea.
So this is something that we're going to talk about more in depth later in the season. But if that were enacted, then those high scores in the playoffs would actually be worth a lot.
Yeah.
That might have gotten us first overall pick.
Yeah.
But like I said, that's an iteration that I think we'll talk about later in the season.
Yeah,
So we won't go in depth right now.
There's a lot of different variations of it. So but it's a good idea, and I think you guys will like it. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
Now, I want to also kind of run back to something else. The 5-37 bet.
Ooh.
My three.
Has
fantasy
anyone
teams,
taken you up on that?
Only you, man. Only you.
Come on, guys.
Nobody's commented.
This is free money. Like $5. That'll get you like a Bazooka Joe or something.
That'll get you a pack of Bazooka Joes. All right.
Oh, maybe.
I mean, $5 will get you 3/4 of your favorite coffee.
Depends on where you're getting it. Apparently not in Queens.
Not or in Harlem. I spent $8.50 last week on an iced coffee from Dunkin' with a shot in it.
Yeah, they got you.
$8.50.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. Anyways, so we're gonna I'm gonna invite you guys for another week to put your bets in. Now you're gonna even have more information.
Just leave it as a comment on this video, whatever you think the ending record for Brendan's 3 crappy fantasy teams will be.
3 projectedly crappy fantasy teams.
My bad.
So just so you guys know, a quick run back on the bet. $5 to the exact guess, if you can guess the exact amount of wins for the 3 leagues. My projections were 5 wins and 37 losses. My guess is over 22 wins, and if you guess over 22 wins, the right number, I'll double the bet and give you $10. Hooray! All right, $10. Pascal guessed 12. I'm gonna give him an option to.
Oh, so they have to guess over 22 to win the $5.
To win the $10.
Oh, okay.
If they guess under 22, I'll include the number 22. So if you want to use 22 as your guess, I'll start the $10 guesses from there.
Do I want to adjust my?
Well, let me give you the results of this week and then see if you might want to adjust. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, I don't have much faith in you. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I did go 0-3 last week, so
yeah,
you were able to make your bet after knowing I was 0-3. But now that everybody else is now open to make their bets, let me let you know what happened this week.
I appreciate that, my friend.
Yeah,
I appreciate
you're very
that.
welcome, man. So let's just say we'll go over this in more detail later. But I won in our league by a little bit.
By a little bit.
We'll circle back in a little bit. So that's 1 win on the season. Hey, everybody, I got a win.
All right.
In Jay's league, the Lions Den. Now this is there's a possibility this could change. I won by
stat correction
0.4 something. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And with independent defensive players, their stat corrections are a lot more common. Like he didn't get a tackle, he got the tackle. He didn't get a sack.
Or that's only a half a sack.
Exactly, and points. Assisted tackle is a half a point. So like, there's a lot of stuff they have to comb through. And the defensive players I played against Aiden Hutchinson, who had 4.5 sacks, and Fred Warner, who had
interception,
20 fantasy points.
Yeah,
forced fumble sack. He was nuts. Anyways, but I did win. I pulled it off, bro.
Okay. So far.
So we're at 2 wins.
Wow.
We're almost halfway there.
Yeah.
And then in the family league, I put it on Beans. It is now a 3-win week. After a 3-loss week.
Okay.
I'm 3-3.
Oh wow.
5-27.
You're a quarter of the way to my projection.
Yeah.
Oh.
Are you thinking you might want to just up it a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know. That might not have been a smart bet by me. Let's see.
We'll see.
I feel like we never really have teams that are that bad in our league. You were one of the top 3 scorers this week in our league. I think I should probably bring it up a little higher.
And
I think
the highest bench, too.
Right.
So
I think that's going to keep being the case for you throughout the season. It's going to be tough to figure out who's going to be your top scorers each week. So I think I will bring it up some, but I'm going to keep it around 500. I'm going to put you slightly below 500. What is it? 50... How many games in total?
It's 42 games. So
42 games.
21 is 500. That's why I selected 22.
Okay, that's a good spot.
And your original guess was 12.
Yeah, I know.
Are you going to up it that much?
Yeah, I'm going to up it to 18 games.
18?
Yeah.
So a good performance, winning 3 games, winning the whole week, I'm getting 6 extra wins on the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think an average of 2 wins per league is appropriate for a week like this.
I'll take it, man. I'll take it. That's great. Man,
Yeah.
I feel good this week. Last week I was ready to put my head through the wall, but well,
Yeah.
not really. Just
I mean, you got lucky. You got lucky, and you're still hoping that you stay lucky.
yeah,
Because you were one completed pass away from winning. I mean, away from losing this week in our league, and I mean, you still might lose in Jay's league. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. I feel like if I did lose or do lose one of those 2 matches, it totally changes my outlook for the season as well.
yeah.
So
I mean, you, like I said, you were one of the 3 highest scores, right, in our league this week, and it ended up being pretty funny the way that our games matched up in our league.
oh yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
So much. It was
Fuck out of here. It was far from perfect.
All right,
It was
you're
it
right.
was as imperfect as it could possibly be. We had the 4 highest scores come in 2 separate games, right? We
Yeah.
had
That's perfect.
We had Marvelous and Mike Longfellow playing each other. And Velas had the highest score and Longfellow had the second highest score. He literally played the only person he could lose to. And then we had you and me playing, and we had the next 2
3
highest
and 4,
scores,
yeah.
right? So all 4 highest scores came in 2 games. And then, on top of that, the 2 lowest scores came in the same game also,
Awesome.
right?
So the luckiest person was in that game.
was in that game.
Was that Frank?
Frank, yeah.
Nice, Frank.
Yeah,
Wrong.
Frank and, right. I mean, the auto draftees, right? They are basing their whole season on luck anyway, right?
Hey,
So
goes
it's
hand in
appropriate
hand.
that he'd
Very
be
appropriate.
luckiest win maybe of the season, because I don't know if anyone's gonna score less than what Sean scored this week.
We'll probably
But
circle back
we'll,
to that
We'll get
too.
in on we'll get into that.
Oh, guys.
All right. Well, at this point, we're gonna switch over. We're gonna
Cover a little bit of what's going on in the NFL right now.
yeah. So what we've been seeing so far is that there's something wrong with the passing, right?
It's big time.
So through the first 2 weeks, we've had 69 passing touchdowns, right?
Sounds like a lot, but
It's
is
not.
it?
That is the lowest number by almost 10 touchdown passes in the last decade. In 2017, we had 78 passing touchdowns through the first 2 weeks. But in 2021, we had 110. In 2018, we had 114 through the first 2 weeks. So we're basically down like 35 passing touchdowns over the first 2 weeks.
That's terrible.
Over the high over the last decade.
69 over 32 games is 2.15 touchdowns per game, including both teams.
Right.
Like, I've seen, a quarterback that throws 3 touchdowns. That's a good fantasy performance, usually. But 2.15. That's
that's a lot of scoring. And on top of that, the yards are down too. It's not like we're getting a whole bunch of air yards and they're just running it into the end zone every time. This year, in the first 2 weeks of the year, we're averaging 193 yards per game, as compared to 216 last year, 227 the year before that, and almost 250 the year before that. From 2018 to 2021, the first 2 weeks of the season, quarterbacks were averaging basically 250 yards per game. We're down almost 60 yards per game.
Damn.
So there's something going on.
I wonder if it's like defensive schemes, like if there's more zone or more man being played.
Yeah, we'll get into it a little bit later. But there's something going on.
Yeah.
And we're gonna delve into it and see if we maybe have some answers.
Clearly, I mean, it's steadily been going down. So
Yeah.
it's a good observation, man, and it really affects fantasy in so many ways. Like receivers, quarterbacks. They're just less value so far through the year. So
Yeah, so far. We'll see how it goes through the season, but so far something's going on.
all right, guys. Well, we'll carry you along to the next segment, which is
Dude, what happened? All right, so Bills at Finns. Tua dives headfirst into his third concussion in 2 years. Meanwhile, Josh Allen continues to prove he is really good and overrated.
Is Buffalo back, or did Miami really need Tua and Mostert? Buffalo 31, Miami 10.
Raiders at Ravens. Antonio Pierce is one of a few head coaches who are former players who have their teams playing well. Is it a trend? Meanwhile, the other Harbaugh brother has fans on Twitter wishing the team had fired him and kept Mike McDonald.
As Lamar is stifled by the Vegas D, Vegas 26-23.
The Browns at Jags. Deshaun, in 2 weeks, has as many passing touchdowns as he does new allegations. Meanwhile, Trevor Lawrence is trying his hardest to make the Daniel Jones contract look reasonable.
Cleveland D essentially wins with a safety, 18-13.
The Jersey Jets at Titans. The Jersey Jets look like they have a 40-year-old QB coming off an Achilles injury. Meanwhile, the Titans lost to a 40-year-old QB coming off an Achilles injury.
As Brees and Braylon beat Calvin Ridley and friends 24-17.
Niners at Vikings. No C-Mac? No problem? Meanwhile, Sam Darnold lost his sixth sense, and the NFLPA is considering sending all QBs to San Fran for a couple years to develop.
As Darnold in Minnesota look to be this year's biggest surprise, San Francisco takes a D blow. Minnesota wins 23-17.
The Superchargers at the Panthers. This Harbaugh brother likes running the ball as much as the other one in Baltimore. Meanwhile, the Panthers benched their number 1 overall draft pick after 19 games.
Oh, that's how the Chargers look. Let's see if Dalton can wake these Panthers up. Chargers win it 26-3.
Seahawks at Pats. Geno Smith provides more proof that the Jets are the problem. Meanwhile, Pats fans should probably get used to outcomes like this until Drake May is ready to go.
As this OT thriller has Geno, DK, and JSN getting the job done. 23-20, Seahawks.
The Aints at the Boys. Rashid Shaheed is making draftniks feel stupid for doubting him. Meanwhile, Dallas has already hit their peak playoff form.
New Orleans scores 44. Kamara scores 44. Saints say, "Hold my beer, Minnesota," as the Saints pounce all over the Cowboys 44-19.
The Jersey Giants at the football team.
Told you to stop saying that.
The other New Jersey team is playing like it wants to draft a new quarterback. Meanwhile, the second overall pick gets his first taste of a division win over a rival.
As the Giants lose their leg and the Commanders kick back 21-18.
Bucks at Lions. The Keebler Elves have a new member, and he is baking. Meanwhile, everyone's favorite preseason pick needs to get back to biting kneecaps.
As Goff is stuffed by defense, Baker and Godwin finish the job. Tampa Bay 20, Detroit 16.
Colts at Pack. Anthony Richardson plays like he's only started a dozen or so games since high school. Meanwhile, Malik Willis plays like who the Titans hoped he'd be. And the Players Association is considering sending all QBs to Green Bay for a couple years to develop.
As this defensive struggle ends with Green Bay just holding on 16-10.
The Rams at Cardinals. There must be something in the California air turning bones and ligaments to dust. Meanwhile, Kyler failed to show that it's not his job to throw the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr.
As Kyler Marvin friends ascend, while Coop joins Puka on the mend. 41-10.
The Steelers at the Broncos. Every year, a team starts 2-0 despite not being very good, and this year is no different. Meanwhile, Bo Nix is trying to mimic Peyton Manning.
How did Denver put up any points in this offensive snooze fest? Pittsburgh wins it 13-6.
The Bengals at the Chiefs. Joe Burrow's husk shows respectability, but a pouting receiver strikes again. Meanwhile, Mahomes only throws for 150 with 2 picks in a win, scaring everyone.
Burrow looked like he was down. KC gets another cheap win, 26-25.
The Bears and the Texans. The Bears are a young team and they play like it, pumping the brakes of talking heads everywhere. Meanwhile, CJ Stroud flashed his brilliance, and for that he received a citation for public indecency from the Houston police.
As Stroud schools Caleb and Houston kicks Chicago's ass, 1913.
The Falcons at the Eagles. The almost 40-year-old QB coming off injury might be back. Meanwhile, could Bill Belichick be the Eagles' next head coach? Is that why he benched Malcolm?
As Barkley drops the win and Cousins carves through, Philly with the opportunity. Atlanta 22, Philadelphia 21. Yes. Philly lost and Dallas lost. It's so exciting.
Yeah, there were some pretty big upsets this week. Like, I definitely was not expecting the Saints to do that to the Cowboys.
Or the Vikings to beat the 49ers.
Yeah, right.
Like a lot of people Super Bowl pick.
Even without C-Mac, like, no one's thinking that's happening.
I mean, Jordan Mason still had a productive and great day. There's a problem elsewhere. I don't even think it's their defense. Their defense played great too.
Yeah, right?
Maybe it's
no, I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, listen, there's a reason why everyone compares middling quarterbacks to Brock Purdy, right? Mac Jones in San Francisco would have 2 championships, or, you know, who's the one I saw recently? I think someone was talking about Bo Nix. Bo Nix in San Francisco would take them to the Super Bowl, right? Maybe it's a Brock Purdy thing.
It's a good observation.
You know?
It could be a Brock Purdy thing. He didn't look that great. Neither did Mahomes, but maybe that just helped your proving your point of how everything's down.
Yeah.
Or just part of the reason why.
I mean, then again, maybe it has something to do with injuries, because like you look at the Rams lost, but they don't have Puka and they don't have Cooper. Like, it's going to be hard to win in that type of a scenario.
That's true. We should jump into the injuries. What do you think?
Yeah, so it was a rough week.
It really was.
When I'm looking at the injury list, there are a lot of starters sitting there.
If you had a team without an injury this week, man, you dodged a bullet. Everybody lost somebody.
Well, that was me.
I mean, you had Rashad White, who's
but he
questionably injured.
He
came back in the game?
Yeah, he came back in the game. So
Well,
he came back to do nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed.
No, it was great. It was great.
Amon-Ra left twice.
Yeah.
Came back.
I think that his whole quad
Mixon
is
left and
just
came back.
black and blue right now.
Yeah, that's true.
So this is who we have who got injured this week. We have, obviously, Puka Nacua is still on IR. He's probably going to be out till about weeks 7 or 10. Tua officially went on IR. He'll be out till, who knows, week 6.
What happened to him if
8.
you were under a rock?
Yeah, right?
What happened to him? Tell everybody. If you were living under a rock this week?
Tua, like I said in the breakdown, he dove headfirst into Damar Hamlin, of all players.
Who would have thought
right?
Damar Hamlin would have caused the potentially career-ending injury to someone else?
Yeah, right.
After what happened to him.
But
Crazy.
Tua's head has got to be fragile, because that's something that most players in this league can do without injury, and he ended up with the tennis hands? Is that what they call it? Like, where they're doing the grip hands. He ended up with that again.
Do you think he'll be the first quarterback to rock the Guardian cap if he does come back?
I don't know why he wasn't rocking it in the first place.
He should have been. We already were talking about his career being ended last year or the year before.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, he got they said only 2, but I think he got 3 or 4.
Yeah,
at least evaluated
so.
for that. So,
but like Jabril Peppers for the Patriots, he's wearing the Guardian cap as an enforcer on defense. Like, come on, man. Like you're not that cool that you can't wear a Guardian cap.
They maybe should make a rule for players that have a certain amount of official concussions, like in NFL play, to force them to wear it.
I'm against forcing grown men to do something that they don't want to do, especially something like that. If he doesn't want to wear it, don't fucking wear it. Like, go ahead.
Yeah.
That's on you.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
it doesn't make sense to me why you wouldn't. There was something that I think Bill Belichick was talking about players who don't wear padding. And it's just like the only reason to not wear padding is to look cool. It's not going to affect your performance to wear extra padding. And
It's not like it weighs like a lot, like helmets and shoulder pads.
Right.
You have to wear those.
Right. And at the end of the day, it's like a lot of these guys would extend their careers at least by a little bit if they just wore some padding. So I don't get it. That's a them thing. I never played football beyond high school, so I'm not going to act like I'm the know-it-all, but it doesn't make sense to me.
Just an interesting situation.
So let's keep going through the injury list. We've got Jordan Love, who obviously sprained his MCL in Brazil, but it's looking like it's not too bad. He'll probably be back sometime, maybe this week.
Wow,
maybe,
that's a lot sooner than I thought.
yeah, like maybe in week 5. If he comes back this week, the expectation is he'll have some reduced effectiveness, and it's best if he waits till like week 4 or 5 and allows himself to fully heal. But even if he plays on it, it's probably not going to be an issue.
I wonder if Jaden Reed owners are gonna, benefit from him not being 100% because he's like a gadget player, runs, catches,
Yeah.
nasty, super speed.
Maybe. I mean, I feel like that whole offense, they really benefit off of his off-platform plays. And so, I don't know. I feel like it's going to take away from their overall productivity.
Well, Jacobs should be getting tons of carries in the coming weeks.
No, that's the guy to really eat. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we've got T. Higgins still not playing, but he'll probably be back this week or next week.
Come on, T.
Kenneth Walker, his injury didn't look like it's too bad. He'll probably be back week 4 or 5.
I hope this week.
No, you do. But I think that he has a high risk of re-injury, and so they're probably going to want to give him some space to recover. David Njoku, not looking too bad. Be back this week or next week. Joe Mixon got lucky.
That's a
It's
questionable one, though.
Yeah, it's probably...
Will he miss a game or two?
He might. He probably doesn't need to, because it's probably not that severe of a high ankle sprain. But he'll have reduced effectiveness for a few weeks because it will be a little tight. It will be a little stiff. Even if he gets some, lidocaine, I think that they take shots of, then he should be able to run, but some reduced effectiveness.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey, he probably won't be back until at the very earliest week 6, 7, 8. But
Who broke the rule? Who did it? Like, who's gonna get in trouble for this?
I mean,
How do you-
I don't know that anyone can get in trouble because I think this is something that can flare up.
He was questionable.
They might have thought that he might have been able to play. And then as they got closer and closer, it got more and more discomfort. Maybe it got more and more inflamed. And there's a place where possibly the Kyle Shanahan or the running backs coach told Jordan Mason, listen, you're going to be starting, and all that means is you're starting. That doesn't mean that McCaffrey's not playing, right?
Yeah.
And if things get worse over the next couple days, then you know what? We don't really need you like that. We're going to make the playoffs anyway, with or without you. Why don't we let you rest? We'll get you back at the end of the season when we actually need you.
Yeah.
And so it could have gone like that.
It's just crazy what it does to fantasy because, and more than like 95% of leagues had him going first overall. And then most fantasy leagues draft in a snake format. So that first pick, your next pick is 24. So you have to, basically your first pick is 24 and your second's 25. Then you got to wait again. But
So I've heard that a lot, that, you know,
it's a big blow.
the way that the NFL has put themselves in bed with the fantasy world and also with the betting world, that this is a bad look for the NFL because it affects both of those both those decision-making processes. As far as I'm concerned personally, I do not want for any coach, any team official to make any decisions based on how it's going to affect fantasy or betting. I think that is the exact opposite of what we want in this league.
That's true, yeah.
And so if this was what was in the best interests of the team, then that's exactly what he should have done. Kyle Shanahan, that is.
Yeah.
Now I can understand why people are upset, but like, get over yourself. We are playing an ancillary product based off of football.
Yeah.
And if our plans get thrown off because the team did what it thought was best to try and win the game, too bad.
Yeah.
Get over yourself. This is how the league should work. It should not cater to you and your fucking fantasy team.
Yeah, just
come on, man.
Just because he was highly sought after and drafted super high doesn't at all mean that I think they were beeping the horn at us so we can keep moving along.
Keep it moving. Yeah,
But
I think so. But
it kind of threw me off a little bit. But yeah, this is a game of chance, luck, and that will always be an element in it. Otherwise, why would we play it? You know what I mean? So
yep.
It's part
All
of the
right.
game, baby.
So running through some more major injuries, we got Isaiah Pacheco. He's probably going to be out until like week 8 at least.
That's one of the biggest hits of the week.
And then he's going to have decreased effectiveness for the rest of the season probably.
That's a huge hit.
It's like a high ankle and a Liz Frank maybe, or one of the other. Like, that's not good for a running
and
back.
there's a broken bone, basically.
Cooper Kupp, high ankle sprain. They're thinking he's probably going to be out to like weeks 5 to 9. Like, it's a
big
large, deal. Yeah, it's a large range of when he might return. And there's a high risk of re-injury. He's already 30 years old. So
And
he might not be very good for the rest of the season.
Don't forget the fact that they have a whole bunch of other injuries, especially on their defense and their offensive line, to the point where that team might be just punting the season eventually. I mean,
Right.
Nobody admits that they're punting the season, but
No, but they might tell him to just recover for next year.
yeah. So
That would be rough.
Hopefully one of those dudes comes back for Sean.
Yeah, I know, right?
So bad.
So we've got Justin Jefferson. Looks like he's had a quad contusion, so he should be good to go this week.
Looked worse than it turned out to be.
Looked worse than it ended up being, so he got lucky. AJ Brown, he's got a hamstring injury that could be nagging for the whole season, but he should be back this or next week.
No, he stated himself that he's going to be out the next couple weeks.
Oh, did he?
After the game, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, so-
Okay. Yeah, so
He probably won't be back to like 6.
He's probably gonna, if that's what he's saying, there's a good chance he's gonna try to let it fully recover, and that takes a while for the hamstring. So
He got his bag anyway, right? So
yeah, his second bag, he got
Yeah.
another one. Yeah. Debo Samuel, he's always getting hurt. He's got a calf injury.
that's a big one. Though.
He's doubtful for this week. There's a chance he might not be back till like week 6.
I think he's missing extended time as well.
Yeah.
Him and Cooper Kupp and him and
extended.
Cooper Kupp, similar story.
And then even when he comes back, there's a high risk of re-injury. He's injury prone. We kind of know that at this point. It's disappointing because he's one of the most electric players in the league. But you got lucky here, my buddy, Mr. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Don't say it.
Hey, so normally you don't need to sit, right, for a contusion. It kind of depends on how bad it is.
It looked bad. I mean, his leg was twitching.
Well, he went out twice,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
And the second time he had to crawl off, and I was like, "Oh, come on, dude! My first pick again."
Yeah.
That happened to Jefferson last year. Like,
So worst case
Little later in the
scenario,
season.
you're looking he might be out till week 6, but he's the type of guy
doubt
to
it.
play through injury,
Yeah.
and so he'll probably be back this week. He might be a little limited, but like it's Amon-Ra. I'm not one to doubt him.
hey, man, if he didn't have 18 targets this week, I'd be a nervous Nelly.
Yeah. Now, one of what could have been most like disastrous injuries from a fantasy perspective was Evan Ingram,
Oh yeah, the
who
Thursday.
injured his hamstring in warm-ups. So if Sean wasn't paying attention, that could have been really bad for him, but he was. So Sean, kudos to you for paying attention.
Good call.
Didn't help you very much, but
Even though Colin called you out because Colin's app didn't update,
right.
and then Colin got sunned by Sean. My dad actually jumped on a cruise and didn't actually get an opportunity to change him out, and he played him, and he
Ooh.
beat Julia by 3. It's crazy.
Oh, that hurts.
Really
Julia.
bad. She had Saquon, she had AJ Brown, so she had a similar situation.
So our last two injuries are Raheem Mostert. He'll probably be back this week. It's kind of hard to tell. It depends on whether he's able to play through the
He's an
pain
injury
or not.
dude.
And Rashad White, he shortly went out with a groin injury, but he came back into the game to not really do anything. Thanks, Rashad White.
Yes,
Yay.
thank you. Thank you so much, Rashad White. I'll send you an editable arrangements next week.
All
So-
right, but now we're gonna get into how we did in the league. What happened in our league?
With the next segment
This
is not the segment.
um,
Sorry, guys, we're still working through the ins and outs of running a podcast. This is the superlative rundown where we'll run down.
no,
Yeah.
we're not there yet.
Oh, our matchup results. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
So yeah,
my friend.
there's actually no soundbite for
I
this.
love that. I messed it up on the on the first turnaround, and you messed it up on the second one. I
This is
love
the
it.
most mistakes, episode 3.
That's all right. That's
Keep-
all right.
keep
We're
listening.
still getting our land legs under us. All right. So where we're at right now is we're gonna run down the league.
Mm-hmm.
To me, this is the most important point. Important part.
What does that mean, Pastor?
I don't know. I don't know how to talk. All right. So yeah,
So let's run down the games.
we're gonna
in
start
our
with
league.
the bullshit
The matchup of the
outcome
week.
Of the week.
All right, so Punks and Drublick visited East Coast Virus.
You're at my house right now. Literally
That's true.
at my house.
By the
right
way,
now.
we never mentioned that. We're here recording in Harlem, New York. Episode 2 also was recorded in Harlem, New York. Episode 1 came to you from Queens, New York.
Yeah.
So we'll try to do a different place every time.
Why did you say my neighborhood, but you said your borough?
I guess I could have said Long Island City, but
Yeah.
people think it's Long Island, and then they're like, ew.
Yeah, kind of like how people think that the Jets and the Giants play in New York.
Yeah, that's why I did it.
Okay.
Because they do in all our hearts.
Oh,
You know?
but not in reality. Anyway,
Jersey sucks. Jersey and
as
Long
do
Island.
the Jersey teams.
Jersey and Long Island suck. Let's talk about it in the comments.
On the next episode.
All right. So, anyways, man, this one was a nail biter. It came down to the very last play of Monday Night Football, and yours truly, the East Coast Virus, pulled off the win in dramatic fashion.
It was a good game. I'm not gonna lie.
It was. I mean, Pascal had Devon Achane, who balled out 29.5 points, second highest score of the week. But Rashad White, what happened there? He didn't help much. He managed just 23 yards on 11 touches.
Yeah.
Not very good for
Not
somebody you
very
kept.
good.
On the other side, East Coast Virus, thank you very much. Got a huge game from Kyler Murray, one of my keepers, with 28.5 points. And Calvin Ridley, who surprised with 24.7, squeaking out the win by less than 3 points. Revenge is sweet as the East Coast Virus gets payback for last season's loss, moving up to 5th in the rankings as Punks and Drublick drops to 6th. Final score 148.34 to 145.92.
Oof, close one.
It was close.
All
Very
right.
exciting.
Now
Thanks for
another
playing, by the way. Thanks.
another close one. We had great against Steal Your Face Mask. Another heartbreaker here. Steal Your Face Mask was down 9.5 points on Monday night, but Jake Elliott nailed a last-minute field goal to seal the win. Marvin Harrison Jr. was on fire, dropping 29 points and helping to edge great by just 4.3 points. Kyron Williams had the volume but couldn't break through, logging only 52 yards on 16 touches. Steal Your Face Mask had the wideouts on lock, though, this week with 2 top 10 wide receivers. After 4 league changes, Steal Your Face Mask stays in 8th, and great holds on to 10th, with Steal Your Face Mask winning 129.88 to 125.62.
Our next matchup is Jay and the Boston Bulldogs visiting Babalu and the G-Men's Crusaders. Now, when I say visiting it doesn't actually mean that at all. I'm just saying it for fun.
Would have been fun if he had though.
Yeah. Wait, if they like watched it together?
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do that every week because
Well, just against the person you're playing.
yeah, but like
Yeah.
I can't sit
Going-
with Colin and lose to him, dude.
Fly out to Colorado to watch it with Sean.
If I'm losing to Aggie, I don't want to be in his presence. All right, change your name, Aggie. Anyway, so this one was super close at halftime on Monday Night Football with just 0.2 between these two teams. It was anybody's game. In the beginning, it looked like Jay had it in the bag, and Boston Bulldog was down by 3.5 points, but stomped back to take it 127 to 115. Breece Hall was a beast, putting up 24.4 points for the Bulldogs. Darnell Mooney and Gabe Davis saw plenty of targets, but just couldn't convert. Mooney converted, bringing in only 6 catches between them. Mooney scored a touchdown though, so that helped push him to the win. The Bulldogs got the revenge from last season's loss, jump up into second place, while G-Men's Crusaders stay in 11th as Boston Bulldogs pull off the win 127.24 to the G-Men's Crusaders 115.44.
Next, we have the MILF Fuckers visiting I Fucks Your Mom.
Oh, that's a good matchup, guys. You guys like moms.
Apropos. The MILF Fuckers came back strong this week, erasing a 6.3 point deficit on Monday night to take down I Fucks Your Mom 121 to 111. Trey McBride came up big with 18.7 points, and Zay Flowers led I Fucks Your Mom with 22.1 points. But it just wasn't enough. I Fucks Your Mom's Travis Kelce is still trying to find his groove this season, while Keon Coleman put up a 0 and hurt their chances. The MILF Fuckers moves into third place, and I Fucks Your Mom slides into 4th, with the MILF Fuckers beating I Fucks Your Mom 121.16 to 111.44.
Next in the matchups, we've got Salute Your Short Fellows facing Catch This Fade in an epic battle for the top score. This one was the last of the nail biters to come down to the wire. Unfortunately for our resident short person, this week he played only team that could have beat him. Our taller short person. Our taller short person Catch This Fade. It's the short matchup. In the highest scoring matchup of the week, Catch This Fade edges out Salute Your Short Fellows in an epic 161 to 152 shootout. Both teams balled out, but Catch This Fade just had more firepower. Malik Neighbors went off with 28.7, and James Cook added a nice 28.5. Salute Your Short people had big games from Rashid Shaheed 20.9 and George Kittle with 20.6. But their crew of Mike Evans, CJ Stroud, and Terry McLaurin, also Harrison Butker, came up short, fellow, which was all Catch This Fade needed to take this win. Salute Your Short Fellows drops to 7th, while Catch This Fade holds on to first place with the highest points per game average in the league. Congratulations, Marv. Longfellow 152.6. Marv Ellison Catch This Fade 161.56.
And last and certainly least, we have the Auto Draftees versus Captain Cannabis. This week's stinker saw the 2 lowest scores of the week go against each other. The Auto Draftees got lucky by playing the only team he could have beat. Thanks to Alvin Kamara's insane 44-point performance, the Auto Draftees pulled it out like a teenager on prom night. Captain Cannabis couldn't keep it up, getting solid but not spectacular outings from Evan McPherson, 15 points, and Travis Etienne, 14.8. Christian Kirk is still struggling for Captain Cannabis, which didn't help either. The Auto Draftees move into 9th, while Captain Cannabis finds themselves stuck at the bottom. The Auto Draftees, 105.2, Captain Cannabis, 76.76.
I will see you again in the next segment. Yeah, the superlative rundown. Running down superlatives. So, in the superlative rundown this week, we'll just review the top NFL players and then a couple things from our league. Top quarterback of the week goes to Kyler Murray with an outstanding 28.54 points. Awesome. Our running back of the week is a clear win from Alvin Kamara with 44 fantasy points.
Oh my God.
Damn, it looked like him on Christmas a few years ago when Frank took me out in the championship.
Yeah, Kamara's.
Damn, that was a really
I
good
really wanted
choice.
to draft him.
Me
I
too.
really did. I was really hoping that who was it, Aggie?
Yeah,
No, Frank.
That Frank actually
would let him go back.
was able to keep Drake London, even though he wasn't on his team. All right, the wide receiver of the week goes to Kyler Murray's receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr., with an outstanding 29 points.
Maserati Marv.
Maserati Marv. We got the highlight on him last week, and anyone who had the Kyler and Marv stack, I do in the family league, was loving life.
Loving it.
Loving it. Actually, no, I do in Jay's league, even better.
Hey,
The tight end of the week goes to the Tom Shine lookalike, George Kittle, with a fantastic 20.6 fantasy points for a tight end. Excellent.
And if you remember last week, we were saying Kittle was one of the shortcomings, not scoring any points as a keeper, but he came back this week.
Yeah, well, you got to keep watching. That's
Too bad
why.
he didn't help you win, though.
It's funny because Kyler had a bad week, Marv had a terrible week, and George Kittle had a not so great week. Kamara's the only one to be like, let's show you. He showed himself out.
Yeah.
2 awesome weeks. He's definitely the RB1. The kicker of the week, I thought it would be Pascal's kicker, who put up 19 in Kaimi Fairbairn.
He's just first in the league.
I was really getting frustrated every time he kicked a 50-plus yarder because it was like butter. It just kept going through. But the actual kicker of the week was Austin Seibert of Washington with a fantastic 21 fantasy points.
Well done.
Good job, man. And then the defense of the week goes to the Buffalo Bills with 18 fantasy points. Do you think that Tua going out might have had something to do with that?
No, I don't, because Tua threw 3 picks, including a pick 6, before he went out.
Oh,
so I don't think it had anything to do with
I think
that,
it had
actually.
everything to do with Tua being in.
I think so. Tua put up his best Mac Jones game. That's what ended up happening.
Mac Jones.
Who?
8004.
Who?
Forgot the full number.
Now, I think that Mac Jones would be the perfect quarterback for the Dolphins. I've always thought that he was a better Tua, so I think that he could actually do really well there, but I don't know if the Dolphins are going to try to pry him away.
You sure Ryan Fitzpatrick isn't going to unretire?
Ooh, that would be great.
Would be
I
great.
miss his beard. All right, so a few more superlativos.
Couple more.
The largest margin of victory. We had the stinker of the week. Yes, the auto draftees defeated Captain Cannabis by 28.26 points.
Damn.
That's kind of pathetic that the second lowest scoring team
Beat the lowest by almost 30.
beat the lowest by almost 30.
It's just a bad
as
week.
the largest deficit.
It's
That is just, oh.
It's just a bad week. Sean will have a bounce back.
He'll probably come back and win the league. This is Sean we're talking
Hopefully not. I mean, he's won 2 out of the last 3 seasons. So.
about. I know. I would take that. I still have not won. But anyway, the closest matchup was yours truly,
Hey!
losing to this guy over here.
East
East
Coast
Coast Virus
Virus.
defeats PID, Punxsutawney Drublick, by 2.42 measly friggin' points.
You know what's awesome? Isaiah Likely had a 15-yard catch towards the end of the game that meant nothing, and that's what made the difference, really, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Any 15-yard catch by
Oh,
receiver.
man.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Now, we got to
Let's-
give them their flowers.
And $25?
Yes.
Who
I'm
is
still
it?
waiting on my $25, by the way.
You're not supposed to say that on the podcast.
No,
All
my
right.
bad. Oh,
The
did I call you out in public?
The bank was on vacation.
Oh, yeah, sure. So this week, we give it to my buddy Marvelous.
Get paid.
Catch this fade with 161.56 points. Not bad.
Marv,
Not
you're
bad.
going to get $25. You can get 3 packs of blackberries or raspberries. Probably. They're like $6.99.
Yeah, like 2 with tax.
Yeah, in Harlem, because it's Manhattan.
And then the wet burp of the week. Wet fart, my bad.
We already kind of covered this, but
This goes on someone who's going to get a little more play today.
you're going to need to put out a match for this one.
Sean Dennehy
Captain Cannabis.
with 76 points. Ooh.
76.76.
Yeah, we'll give him the extra.
You got to give him the
3/4
extra.
of a point.
Yeah, he's closer
He
to
needs all he
77.
can get. Oh, that was pathetic.
Yeah, that was a rough week for Sean, but we all have those weeks, and to be honest with you, you'll be back, dude. Trust me.
Yeah,
I
I'm sure.
see it. I see it. You just got to get some receivers because there's a lot of problems in that room. So moving along, everyone, it's time for Do You Feel It? It's the Keeper Alert.
Oh yeah.
We're going to talk about our keepers, which we kept over the season, off season, to the new season, from last year to this year. The Keeper Alert. Before we go into everybody's keepers and how they performed, we wanted to touch upon a couple injuries, benched players, and our keeper of the week. So injuries, we have 5 injured keepers.
Ouch.
Out of 23 players, that's a good handful. That's
a lot.
more than 20%.
That's a lot.
So in week 1, we lost Raheem Mostert and Puka Nacua. Mostert for a shorter time, as we told you earlier in the podcast. Week 2, the keepers to go down were Rashad White, Isaiah Pacheco, and Deebo Samuel.
Yeah,
So-
luckily for me, or I don't know if it's lucky or not, but Rashad White came back into the game. He'll be good to go.
Yeah, I'd say Raheem Mostert and Rashad White are on the better side.
Yeah.
Puka, Pacheco, and Deebo, y'all are going to need some time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we had one benched keeper this week.
Oh no, already?
It was based off of the first
Already?
week, and it's from my team.
Did you overreact?
I don't think I did,
Okay.
because I'm going to continue doing it this way until Mark Andrews proves me wrong. I benched Mark Andrews, who put up 9.1 fantasy points, for Isaiah Likely's 4.5. Not a huge difference. The Ravens didn't look that good anyway.
And
I
you still
think
won though, so
I think there will be better scripts for both players. And also, we'll tell you a little bit more on the trading block a little later.
yeah.
And then the keeper of the week, we've already discussed the fantasy player of the week, the running back of the week, Alvin Kamara, 44 points. Congratulations, Frank.
Well done.
If you
Well
didn't
done.
have him and you had for example, Rashad White, you would have lost to Sean. So
Would've lost. And we'd be making fun of you.
wait, you put up 105 with a 44 burger from Alvin
Yes.
Kamara? Damn, dude, that's crazy. I just realized that.
Yeah, it's pretty
Shoot.
bad. It's pretty bad.
All right, well, we're going to have Pascal, as he does, go over the winners of the week and how they perform with their keepers.
Yes. So,
Yes.
Boston Bulldogs
Winner.
winner had Brees Hall go for 24.4 points after being projected around 18 points. That's 6.1 over the projection. And Dalton Kincaid put up 7 points when expected to put up 11. That's
Ooh.
negative 3.5
That's
points.
2 bad weeks from him.
But overall, he put up 31.7 points from his keepers. That's 2.5 above the projection.
Nice.
Next, we have Scott and the MILF fuckers.
Winner.
Brock Purdy put up 13.7 points when he was expected to put up 17.1.
Oof.
That's down by 3.5. Drake London put up 17.4 when he was expected to put up 13.5. That's over by 4 points.
Nice.
So he put up 31 points between both keepers when expected to put up 30 points. That's about a half point more.
It's a wash.
Next, we've got Catch This Fade, our highest scoring team.
Winner.
James Cook put up 28.5 points when he was expected to put up 12. That's 16.5 over what he was expected. Nico Collins put up 27.5 when he was expected to put up 14.5. That's 13 points over.
He killed it.
His keepers put up an outstanding 56 points. That's 26.5 over what they were expected.
That's outstanding. I think that's one
Oh
of the
no,
best of the
sorry,
week.
that's not true. It was 30 points over what they were expected.
It's outstanding.
Out friggin' standing. I feel like a dummy trading him James Cook last year.
Damn. Nico
Yeah.
Collins. Look at that. Woo. Killing it.
Next, we have East Coast Virus with Kyler Murray putting up 28.5.
Wait. Winner.
No. When he was expected to put up 18.5. That's 10 points over expected. And Mark Andrews, who he did not start, put up 9 instead of 11. 2 points under expected. So he did not do what he should have done.
We're in the green, though. We're in the green.
Next, we have Steal Your Face Mask.
Winner.
He put up... Jonathan Taylor put up 15.5 when he was expected to put up 13.5. That's 2 points over. Kyron Williams put up 15.2 when he was expected to put up 15.2. That's a wash.
Nice.
They put up together 30 points, 2.1 over expected.
Very consistent.
Last, we have the auto draftees.
Winner.
Alvin Kamara put up 44
Woo!
when he was expected to put up 18.8. Then we have DJ Moore, who put up 11.3 when he was expected to put up 13.9. The auto draftees total was 55 between the two. That's 22.6 over expected.
Wow.
Well done, Catch This Fade,
Yeah, Catch
and
This
the
Fade.
auto draftees.
Catch This Fade takes the cake there.
Standing.
Excellent. All right, now we're going to go into the losers keepers of the week. We start with the man sitting across from me, Punkson Drublick.
Number one loser.
Who, yeah, actually it's true. Who, man, you're a really good consolation like winner. You know, you were top 2 scores in consolation rounds. Matter of fact, I want to point something out. You, me, Baba, and Jay are in that bracket. I'm the only one who's won. So I'm in there with a bunch of winning losers.
Jay might have something to say about that.
What about the history of fantasy football before the world was created?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know. Anyways, Punkson Drublick puts up Rashad White, who puts up a injured 3.3 points. And he is 9 points under his expected value. Devon Achane, what an amazing performance with 29.5 points, which is 13 points over his projected value.
Whoop, whoop.
So Pascal ends with about 4 points over his projected value and a questionable tag on Rashad White. Next we go to who put up Isaiah Pacheco put up 16.1, which was about a 1.5 over his projected value, but he also left with a questionable tag. And Brandon Ayuk, who put down 8.3 points, which is about 5.5 under his fantasy value, leaving Colin with about 4 points on the table with his keepers.
Yeah, I think Pacheco's on IR. He's done for a while.
Yeah, that's a rough go, man. Then next we have G-Men's Crusaders. Who put up Sam Laporta with only 3.3 fantasy points, which is about 11 points under his projected 14 points. And Raheem Mostert, who was out this week. So Babalu and the G-Men's Crusaders end with a minus 11 in the keeper column.
Ooh.
That's tough. Then we go to I Fucks Your Mom, Aggies team. Ya loser. He put up 2 great keeper performances, however, with Deebo Samuel finishing with 18.0 and about 4 points above his projected total and a questionable tag. He'll be out a few weeks. And then he put up a great number with Zay Flowers at 22.1, which was 9 over his projected value, leaving with I Fucks Your Mom with about 13 points over his projected value.
Well done.
The next man we have is Salute Your Short Fellows.
You loser.
Great performance, but you lost. CJ Stroud underperforming by 5 points his projection, and he only puts up 14.3 points, as George Kittle outperforms his projection by 9 by putting 20.6 points on the board. Longfellow escapes with a +4 from his keepers. And last but not least, except for this week, you are least. We love you, though. And your keeper would be out. Oh, I'm sorry. We didn't say the name. Captain Cannabis.
You loser.
It's so mean. It's so mean, but you said it for everyone.
I didn't say it for me.
He has... Oh, yeah, well, you loser. Captain Cannabis had one keeper, Puka Nacua, who was out, so he broke even. So yeah, that was a
right.
really good week for our keepers.
Well, for some people.
some more than others. And we'll move it along to our next chapter, which is here.
It's in the air.
Yes, yes. It is in the air. We are not sure what's going on with a certain few things, so we ask big questions. That's a sentence that I just created. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and ask the biggest questions of the week with It's in the Air. I'll start. My big question of the week.
Yeah, let's give it to us.
Let me get this out. Which team is playing us all? Minnesota or New Orleans?
Ooh,
Ooh is right.
that's a good one.
Now, Minnesota defeated the 49ers this week. They defeated the Giants in week 1, and they looked to be maybe one of the worst teams before that game. They crushed the Giants.
And the shocking thing about the Minnesota win over the 49ers is that Sam Darnold took them on a game-winning drive against what is probably the best defense in the league without Justin Jefferson, without Jordan Addison, and without TJ Hawkinson.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
Really
And
was.
this is the same game that Aaron Jones ran in a touchdown without the football and fumbled at the end zone. I think somebody did that in week 1 as well, but it was
I
a
didn't
big
see that.
sway, big deal.
Yeah.
Because they could have easily put up more of a blowout, and I'm glad that they won that game because they deserve to win that game. I know they only won by 6, but the 49ers are a great team. The Vikings played a better game. And, dude, the 49ers, yeah, they lost Debo. That was late. We found out about that later. Like, he played most of that game. He had most of the – he blew Ayuk out of the water.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
And the defense, I mean, the defense was all over the place. The 49ers defense did not play a bad game. Fred Warner had like a forced fumble, interception, a couple sacks. I mean, it was like this team.
I think it's what we were talking about earlier. There's a problem with the offense, right? Because if the defense is playing well and you can't win, I mean, maybe it's special teams, but
I don't know, because if you look at the 49ers offense, Kittle had a great day. Ayuk did not. Debo did. Jordan Mason did. So
right? He ran for another 100-yard game.
They're power players. Like Brock Purdy, not so much, but they're power players.
You got to get touchdowns in the red zone.
That's true. Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. And if you're not scoring touchdowns, you're not doing anything. It's too easy for the other team to stay in the game.
Yeah, but if I were to ask you before the season if the 49ers weren't scoring touchdowns against the Vikings, like, would you be worried
without
as a 49ers
their top 3
fan?
weapons? No, I wouldn't. But
Yeah, exactly.
this is why you play the game.
What a game. And then the other game, let's cover the other team, would be the Saints, who this week proved their point. In week 1, they blew out. Who did they play in week 1? I'm gonna pull it up because
They played someone not very good.
yeah, it wasn't that great of a team, but they blew it out.
Was it the Panthers?
It was the Panthers, so it was like, all right, expected. But
Yeah.
they put up 47 to the Panthers 10.
Right.
And I think they allowed them to score a late touchdown in that game. But this week is what really makes this interesting as a team. If you're a New Orleans fan, you got to be on cloud 9 right now. Busting up the Cowboys. Oh my God, man. 44-19
Yeah, that's
in Dallas.
You got to be embarrassed as a Cowboys
Dude,
fan. You got to
awesome.
be embarrassed. Like I was joking around about the Cowboys being in their peak playoff form because, they can't win in the playoffs. But realistically, you've got to be concerned. The Cowboys came into this season having one of the top rosters in the league on paper, and
all around.
they got destroyed.
They're an all around really good team, and I hate
Are
them.
Are they? Does an all-around really good team lose 44-19 to Derek Carr and Rashid Shaheed?
Alvin Kamara. It could have just be
Alvin
him.
Kamara, right? But
Derek Carr looked great.
Alvin Kamara did have 4 touchdowns, 3 running and 1 receiving.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a lot. But you have Micah Parsons, you have one of the best linebackers in the league. I don't know who else is on that defense up the middle, but like I don't know, man. I just that is a weak excuse if I'm
Yeah.
a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, I'm just happy it happened that way, and
So
it's
are
so
the-
awesome.
Are the Saints really that good?
I would
Maybe.
I would say that the Saints have proved it more than the Vikings. Both teams sitting at 2-0, both teams looking to be powerhouses on offense and defense, it looks like. However, who's playing us? Like, who's going to fall on their face in week 3 or 4?
I've got to say the Vikings are more likely to. I'm more likely to say that the 49ers had an off week and on offense, right?
Yeah.
Because their defense still played well. It's not like the 49ers came out and blew them out.
Yeah.
It was still a close game.
A few-
Blowouts tend to not be flukes in my experience.
That's true. That game from the get was a blowout. It was incredible to see the Cowboys lose at home and then the Eagles lose at home on Monday night
Yeah,
and
right.
get the fantasy dub.
You
Man,
sound
I was
like a
feeling
hater.
good.
You sound like a hater.
I'm not a hater. My Giants lost by 3, and I'm still happy because their performance was better than it was in week 1. And I'm happier that the teams that I am a hater of and that created my hatred lost at home. Anyways,
I mean, at this point, you should really be hoping that the Giants are worse than the Panthers so that you can get the first overall pick.
no, it's fine because then the Panthers will just botch the first overall pick and
They
then
probably
leave,
will.
leave the best player on the board.
They'll
for
probably
us.
draft Shador and Dion will tell them that he's not going to Carolina, and then they'll have to trade for like a linebacker or something.
We'll see what happens, but that's my one of my big questions of the week.
That's a good one.
Should be a really interesting next couple weeks to see who can hold their power. I mean,
Yeah.
top of their divisions.
So for me, it's something that I talked about at the beginning of the episode, and it's just what is going on with passing this year. This week, teams averaged 193.2 yards passing, and Pat Mahomes threw for 151 yards in a
2
win.
picks.
2 picks. 151 and 2 picks.
He actually threw more picks, but flags were thrown.
Well, we know how the refs like to play.
I'm not even one to be
Machine
into
stands.
the conspiracy of that, but I was
As
not
a
happy
Pats
with that
fan,
this
I
week.
feel like it falls on deaf ears for me because everyone was saying the Pats would get those calls. I didn't think so, but maybe.
Nobody likes anyone who keeps winning.
No, especially not when they're getting calls that seem badly
Unfair.
timed.
Yeah.
But realistically, for me, it comes down to a few things, right? For one, our defense is forcing them into the run. Our offense is just taking what the defense is giving to them. You know, there's been a lot of the Vic Fangio defense going around the league the last few years, which is a too high system, which really just invites the run because both of your safeties are far away from the line of scrimmage. You're trying to flood the field with defenders. In nickel, you're going light nickel, and so that just makes it easier for offenses to run. So is it something like that? Are the defenses getting more complex and harder to decipher? Right, the defenses had to adjust because passing was going crazy. And so is this the pendulum swinging back? Have defenders gotten more athletic? Have they got better systems to stop this passing?
Do you think there's more man-to-man coverage or zone coverage, or what do you
Well,
think?
so
like,
in the
is-
Vic Fangio, you're playing a lot more man. You've got too high safeties. It's not like the Tampa 2 where it's more zone. You're getting the middle linebacker to run back and take the middle of the field. You've got lighter players on the field so that they can cover all of the receivers. I don't know. I mean, there's also a lot of young starters out there.
yeah,
You know, we've got a lot of starters in the league who are first, second, third year
learning curve.
learning curve, and there's less of an off season. These guys aren't allowed to practice, and that's affecting the offensive lines. So if the offensive lines are worse, then the quarterbacks have less time to throw the ball. I don't know. Maybe it's all of it. You know, maybe it's all of it. But what we do know is that the numbers are going down. The offensive lines are worse. The quarterbacks are coming in with a lot of spread experience, but no under center experience, and the ownership and the fan bases are pressuring them to start these guys right away. Look at how many starters. We had 6 quarterbacks go in the first round of the draft. And if it wasn't for J.J. McCarthy's injury, 5 of them would have been starting in week 1. Right? That you can't get good play from a rookie in his first start. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and his first season, really. I mean, very rarely does a rookie of any position
Wow, we
perform
have
outstanding.
breaking news. We have breaking news.
Oh, breaking
on
news
the
just
cast.
broke?
Yeah.
Oh,
So Pacheco, according to Andy Reid, could return this season or next season from leg surgery.
oh my
So
goodness.
he might be out the whole season, or maybe into next season. He might be on PUP starting out next season.
He might not be kept next season.
He might not be kept next season.
Damn, that's a big blow to him. Great. Oh
Yeah.
shit, is more
Sorry,
like
buddy.
it.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right, man. You got a good deep bench, so keep at it.
But yeah, talking about the passing in this league, we'll see. We'll see if it picks up throughout the rest of the season. But I don't know. We might see a run on running backs next year.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the first year in fantasy that the wide receivers really took up the first round. Like it for several years, it was always super running back heavy because there's a more limited
For
supply
us,
of running backs.
for our league.
Yeah, I mean, in general ADP, I'd say as well. I think it was like more running back heavy. Now there's like only 3 running backs in the ADP first round, maybe 4.
Right.
this
Well, Saquon made it into the first.
Yeah.
So we had Bijan, we had
Brees,
Saquon,
and CMC.
And Jonathan Taylor was like on the
yeah, Saquon and Taylor were like on the turn.
right.
So you could technically say there was 3 or 4, and the rest were wide receivers. So
Yep.
it's pretty crazy. That breaking news just definitely hope you keep listening, Colin, because there's a lot more good stuff to hear.
Too bad we're not live.
yeah, damn. You already know about it. So so yeah, we're gonna go on to the next segment. And hope you guys enjoy this. We'll give you a little insight as to what we think in
3 and out.
3 and Out. 3 and Out is the segment where we kind of go over players that we're done with or might want to put into a trade package or trade away, trade for. So Pascal and I are going to go through a few players that to start. Let's go through. We each picked a couple players we'd like to trade away. Maybe we give good options.
So one of my trade away options is someone who's close to my heart as a Patriots fan. It's Ramondre Stevenson.
Oh, he's close to my heart too. He's on my starting running back roster.
He is, isn't he?
Yeah.
So Mondre, why I would be looking to trade him away is because he's been playing really well, and he should have high trade value because he's the focal point of the Patriots offense.
High volume, good performance.
However,
that's a great person to trade away.
There's
because-
uncertainty
exactly
because as the focal point, that means he's going to get a lot of carries, so he could get banged up.
and the Patriots are not that great this year, so he's not going to have as much opportunity as a running back, for example, like Joe Mixon, that gets high volume on a good team that's going to be in the red zone a lot more.
Right, exactly. And then furthermore, Drake May will be starting at some point this year. A lot of the Patriots beat guys think it's going to be between like weeks 5 and week 9, which mean that he'd get about half the season. And once he comes in, who knows how the offense is going to change.
Yeah, it could boost Antonio Gibson's value and lower Ramondre Stevenson's value. Very uncertain thing. So that's a good trade away pick. He's on my team. And
you might be able to, this might be the point where you're getting, at least over the next few weeks, this might be the point where you can get maximum value for him with uncertainty coming later in the season.
One of my tradeaways is related to that would be David Montgomery.
Okay.
Now, David Montgomery is a good tradeaway candidate for me. Well, I don't have him on my team, but if I did, I'd consider trading him away because he's part of a great backfield, two great running backs. However, the team isn't looking for the first 2 weeks that great, like through what they should, like the high octane offense, however you want to say it. They're not looking as good as we expected. So this is going to cause games where Jahmyr Gibbs or David Montgomery are in the single-digit fantasy points, not really getting a lot of carries based on game script. And it's just not as sure of a thing as it was prior to week 1. So David Montgomery, who has performed just like Ramondre, is a good trade-away candidate for that fact.
Yeah, that's a good one, especially because the Lions, they haven't been playing very well. And so anything could happen the rest of the season. And they were a high-scoring offense, so he could definitely be racking up some touchdowns through the rest of the season.
Oh, yeah. But if Jahmyr Gibbs gets hurt, that changes immediately.
Right.
So
so my second guy that I would consider trading away if I had him was Darnell Mooney. He had a really good game, and especially if he can start stacking good games over the next few weeks, then he's not a guy with a track record, and so there's a good chance that he's going to fall off the rest of the season.
Yeah.
He's not the top choice in the pecking order. You've got
Pitts,
you've got Drake London, you've got Bijan, you've got Pitts.
He's probably fourth. Him and Ray McLeod are fighting for fourth.
But Darnell Mooney is a guy who has consistently gotten open for underperforming quarterbacks throughout his career.
He's a under the radar really good
he really
receiver.
Is. And so if he keeps on putting up numbers the next few weeks, then you might be able to trade him away for a top player.
Or he could become a stalwart in your flex.
Right.
You know?
But also because this is a guy that someone can keep as a keeper, as likely a 10th round pick.
Yeah, no, it is because he was picked up on free agency or waivers.
Was he waivers?
Yeah,
and so,
I think Jay picked him up.
And so there's a lot of value there. If it looks like he's getting a track record and he's going to be consistent with Kirk, then it'd be worth it to try to get a top tier player, maybe for the playoffs.
Yeah, especially after this week, that touchdown really put him into like a trade away candidacy. Yeah. My last trade away goes to Jerome Ford, the running back of the Cleveland Browns, and this is for more than one reason. Obviously, we have the impending return of Nick Chubb. We don't know when that's going to happen or if that's going to happen.
Right.
We're not
probably
sure.
Won't be till midway through the season, though.
And then you still, they're going to wean off of Ford unless Chubb just comes out outstanding and is like, no, this is my backfield. I doubt that's going to happen.
It'll probably take Chubb a few weeks. Even after he gets back.
So that means come playoffs, you're likely not going to have much value out of Ford. And the value you're getting out of Ford now is huge. But this week, another reason you want to trade Ford away, Deontay Foreman got, I think, double the carries. I think he got 14 to Ford's 7. I might be wrong on those numbers, but I know he got about 7 carries more than Ford. And
but wouldn't that mean that you're trading Ford away at a discount?
I mean, after this week, but his performance wasn't that bad. I mean, he's been doing well after his first 2 weeks. Like he's at worst an RB2. Okay. I do have to look up the deets to let you know exactly, but Ford's a great player. I have him in a few leagues, but his value is going to go down as we go. And I just pulled it up. He actually, he put up 18.9 against the Cowboys, 12 carries, 7 targets, and then this past week only put up 7.4 against the Jaguars with 7 carries and 2 targets. So yeah, his value did go down, but he should have more better performances than not. But we'll see how things go with that.
All right. So 2 guys that I would trade for are Garrett Wilson and Alvin Kamara.
You'd have to give a lot for Kamara.
Well, so my thing with Kamara is that you would have to give a lot, but I think that he's going to produce.
You think he's going to finish
I think
one?
he's going to, well, I don't know if he's going to
3?
finish 1, but I think he's just going to keep producing all year. There aren't a ton of options on that Saints team, but obviously they're producing. David Carr is playing out his mind.
Derek Carr.
Did I say David?
Yeah.
My bad. Derek Carr is playing out of his mind, and I've always thought he was a good quarterback, and I don't think that the Saints are a fluke. So I would be willing to make a trade for Kamara, particularly also because of the state of Frank's team. That's the other thing.
I see.
Is that I would be willing to
he
give
needs
up.
he needs
I
to
would
get some
be-
pieces.
yeah, he needs
like
more
a 2 or
pieces.
3 for 1
Like,
trade.
There's no way that Frank is going to be able to win on the back of Kamara for the rest of the season with his team the way it is.
I see.
And so this is a place where you can give up 2 maybe mid high tier players.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe like a guy who's averaging 17 points and a guy who's averaging 14 points for Kamara.
To get Kamara,
so you're giving up maybe more overall value, but you're getting probably one of the top 5 running backs in the league.
You'd probably have to surrender a wide receiver 1, RB2, and then something else too. So
Well, we'll see, because Frank should be pretty desperate to make a trade.
yeah,
Because he has probably one of the best trading pieces in the league, but a lot of needs.
and what about Garrett Wilson?
Garrett Wilson is on the opposite end of the spectrum. He's
Yes,
a
he
guy
is.
who's underperforming, but there's a good chance that he and Rodgers can keep building their chemistry
I
and
guarantee
can get
it
better
happens.
through the rest of the season. But it's risky because if Aaron Rodgers gets hurt,
Yeah,
then
barring injury,
you're looking at okay production, but not league-winning production. So Garrett Wilson is one of those guys where you might overpay for a little bit, but end up getting great production through the second half of the season.
That's just like my trade for Target, which is Brandon Ayuk. Same idea,
Right.
underperforming, but could go off. And then accompanied with the loss of Debo, you can get a ridiculous bag for Brandon Ayuk based on his name value and the fact that he now doesn't have to compete with Debo, even though it could be a bad thing because of more like
More attention
emphasis
on him.
on him. But we'll see what happens with it. But Brandon Ayuk's definitely going to have better days ahead. And then my other trade for candidate would be Brian Robinson Jr.
Okay. The football team.
Yeah, a little over 2 years or a little over a year, removed from a gunshot to the leg.
Yep.
The guy is getting volume. The team is looking better than we expected. It's a much more run-heavy team. So Robinson's getting the action that he needs to be something valuable. So that's my trade for. Now, Pascal, I'll let you go first. Who would you just straight drop? Give me one name who you would just straight drop from your team.
So at this point, I think I would be dropping DeAndre Hopkins.
I
As much as I've
expected it.
loved the way he played over his career, he's older. He's probably 3rd in the pecking order behind Treylon Burks and excuse me.
Calvin Ridley.
Exactly. And
You mean
so,
Calvin Ridley and Treylon Burks? Nobody even has Treylon Burks.
I know. Exactly. That's how bad that is. And so I don't know. I don't have faith that he's going to be able to recover his form. He might have some good games here or there.
Yeah,
But
I
the
see
worst
that
thing, that's kind of the worst thing that could happen, because you see him have a good game, then you put him into your starting squad the next week, and he puts up a goose egg.
like a 1.6
So,
like he did. I think he's
I
put
might
up
just-
1 point in both games, 1 point in
Maybe
change.
I might just drop him and not even risk playing myself.
Yeah, I mean, I see him bouncing back because he is coming back from like a lingering injury, and he's just so electric that I do also see him having good games this season, but it'll be an up and down battle.
Yeah.
Getting rid of him now would alleviate your stress from owning that player on your bench, such a star player. And all right, my straight drop goes to Christian Kirk. Unfortunately, Sean, I know you lost both Rams receivers. Christian Kirk, through 2 weeks, has only 7 targets,
Oof.
2 catches, and 4.9 fantasy points total.
I mean, the Jags are not good.
It's not even that. The even bad teams have good fantasy production sometimes. It's just the emergence of Brian Thomas. Even Evan Ingram didn't even play in this game, but you've got ETN and Bigsby getting a good amount of action. I think he got banged up this week too, but I mean, accompany that with the Jags not being that good. This guy last year he started the first week terrible, and then he bounced back with an epic performance for the rest of the season, like most games. But this week it's not looking like that bounce back is coming. He might have reasonable weeks, but I would just throw him into the free agent pool and see if somebody wants to bite later. So, now since we've been talking about these trades and stuff, you want to just give a couple players on your trading block?
Yeah, so this is something new that we're doing this episode that I think is a good idea. We're going to say anyone that we have on our team that's on the trading block, but we're also going to open it up to the league. So you guys think about anyone that you might want to put on the trading block, and you can mention them in the comments, and then we will let the league know on the next episode that you have them up for the trading block.
Yeah, we'll kind of try to instill some trades in the league, get some excitement about it.
So for me, I would actually be willing to trade Devon Achane.
Your keeper.
My keeper.
Awesome.
Now, part of it is because he's my keeper, and I kept him for a 10th round pick. So whoever I would trade him to would be able to keep him next year for a 9th round pick, and the year after for an 8th round pick.
Heavy value. That's
so you would have to make me.
Trade
you'd have to make me a great deal.
Yeah.
I'm talking like basically like 2 starters, one of them like a top tier starter, because getting to keep a player, a top tier player, and getting to keep them for a 9th round pick is basically worth 2 players.
Yeah, it's more
now
value.
You get two first round picks.
You're right.
So I'm not. He's not on my trading block because I don't like his potential for the rest of the season. Even though he does take some risk.
He has a high risk
with Tua being out. Like he got all the touches after Tua went out.
I know.
So he might put up crazy numbers.
And he was questionable last week, though.
Right.
That's what was worrying
me. But like he
him.
came out healthy, and so he could definitely put up league-winning numbers for the rest of the season. But there is risk. So that's who I would put on the trading block for right now.
All right, my trading block, I got a whole bunch of players because you know what? To be honest with you guys, anyone's on the trading block. Let's be real.
Yeah, for the right price.
To go over a few, I have Michael Pittman. He's been underperforming like crazy, but that name and the value that he holds and the target share that he holds on that team has a lot of promise. So, Michael Pittman's definitely somebody that I'm willing to trade off. Also, J.K. Dobbins, the number 4 running back in the league as of right now.
He's been balling out.
He's been balling. He's so good. The reason I would be willing to trade him is his volume is still not where you want it to be. And although that may grow throughout the season, he's still not getting the opportunity as some of these other guys. So I would be looking to trade him for a top-tier running back that has volume, but maybe isn't as electric.
He's got the injury risk.
Yeah, that's true.
Like he's already missed significant time to injury with the Ravens, so
yeah,
that's the type of guy that it's like, all right, he's putting up good numbers, but he might miss half the season. Who knows?
And then I would be
on a running team though. Because we already know that Harbaugh is a running guy. He wants to be running first, running second, passing last.
Maybe the Gus owner should offer me somebody.
Yeah.
So you have your insurance. And then I was
thinking with Jerome Ford, whoever has Nick Chubb.
Oh,
if you don't have Jerome Ford, that's who you might want to be trading for.
Yeah. And then I'm also putting up Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely as a single
duo.
or as a package.
Makes sense.
It's kind of annoying to be put in a position where you have 2 players at the same position and you're like, who do I play between these 2 guys? Who's going to get the volume? I'm not that worried about it, but I do want to pull myself out of that situation if I can. And
so if you traded the 2 of them, would you want to trade them for a tight end and another position?
Yeah,
or
probably.
Would you take any offers for the 2 of them?
Probably like an RB2 and like the tight
like
end,
a TE1.
The tight end, yeah. It's obviously a TE1. That doesn't mean much, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But definitely not a TE2. I would obviously need a tight end replacement. I did just get on waivers. I got this guy that used to be on the Dolphins, Gesicki, that's on the Bengals now.
Yeah.
So I do have some
in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah, he I'm not willing to run him all year, so I would need some kind of action. And then of course I personally for me,
I'll think about that. I might be willing to do Pitts and someone for the 2 of them.
Yeah, I'm willing to take offers, but just so you guys know, offers that are sent to me, I don't really like the uneven player amount offers. So like if I'm gonna give a great player and you're gonna give me 2 players for him, you could also take the worst player from my team because I like to do an even like 2 for 2, 1 for 1, 3 for 3.
You could always just counter.
That's true.
Because they don't know who you're willing to drop.
That's true. I'm willing to trade anyone if the right offer is there. Let's just say that.
Yeah, me too. I want for there to be more trades in this league. So
there will be.
Yeah.
Bringing us to our next segment, freshman football. So Pascal's going to highlight our freshmen, our rookies.
Yeah, so I'll run through this real quick. This week, our top 13 rookies. Well, top 12. We'll keep Ricky Pearsall out of it while he's on IR.
Yeah.
We have Marvin Harrison scoring 29. Malik Neighbors scoring 28.7.
Woo.
Xavier Worthy at 4.2.
Aye.
Keon Coleman at 0.
Goose.
Rome Odunze hurt at 5.3.
Damn.
Lad McConkey at 4.6.
Not good.
Jaden Daniels at 13.4.
Also going
Trey
down.
Benson at 2.7. Blake Corum at 2.8. Brian Thomas Jr. at 11.4.
Consistent.
Caleb Williams at 7.3.
Yikes.
And Brock Bowers at 18.8.
That's a good one.
Our
He's a
top
great
3
player.
rookie scores were Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, and Brock Bowers.
Pretty awesome, man. Pretty awesome. So today on freshman football, we're going to put the spotlight on the G-Men's Malik Neighbors.
Hey, he balled out this week.
He did, man. I was so happy to see it as a big-time, lifelong Giants fan.
Whoever
Seeing
your
some-
next quarterback is going to love that guy.
Oh, yeah. Probably whoever we draft next year in the first round.
Probably.
So this 6 foot, 201 pound, 21-year-old is from Youngsville, Louisiana. He went to a high school in Youngsville called Southside and went to Louisiana State University, better known as LSU, which I didn't recognize in the beginning. I'm like, wait, did he go to LSU? So he was there for 3 seasons. His junior year, he killed it. He was a true freshman. Not that great numbers out of his freshman and sophomore year, but in his junior year, he went off.
Well,
He was-
LSU is wide receiver factory.
Of
them
course.
and Ohio State. So he was probably playing behind like Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and
You know, I should have looked that up. I totally skipped over that. Last week I had a good piece for Marv and who he was backing up, but maybe we'll tell you that next week. He did get the MVP in the 2023 Citrus Bowl. He was number 1 in yards in all college football in 2023 with 1,569 yards and 14
ended up
touchdowns.
losing out on the Biletnikoff to our number 1.
Yes,
Maserati Marv.
which is very impressive. I mean, these two guys were battling it out for number 1. He was a unanimous All-American in his last season in 2023. Drafted by the G-Men, 6th overall. Drafted in our league, 40th overall by Catch This Fade. Great pickup, Marv. You'll probably see some trade offers from me. Week 1, he went 5 for 7 for 66 yards with 11.6 fantasy points. And week 2, 10 for 18, 127 yards
Whoa.
and a touchdown, 28.7 fantasy
Put a
points.
tutty on the board.
Looking good. Looking
Let's go.
great.
Let's go.
Really feeling it. So, kudos, Malik Neighbors. We're looking forward to a lot of great things to see in the future. So,
Couldn't care less.
so that's going to bring us to our next segment, the Market Watch. Welcome to the stock market, as we're going to tell you players that stocks are rising or stocks are falling on. And Pascal, would you like to begin this?
Sure.
You know what? I'll begin it since we were just talking about him. We're going to highlight Malik Neighbors. So I just cut him off. My bad. Malik Neighbors, stock rising.
Definitely.
From 7 to 18 targets.
I mean, he's literally the only weapon on that Giants team. But yes, his stock is on the rise.
We've certainly talked enough about him. So sorry, Pascal. Why don't you give us both of your players now?
So I have Rashid Shaheed, the
Okay.
wide receiver from the Saints. He has really been balling. Derek Carr, that Carr boy. He's looking for him. He's finding him. He's finding himself wide open behind the defense. and Carr is hitting him for touchdowns. I don't see that changing. I mean, you could try double teaming him, but that boy is fast.
So I think it's safe to say his stock's rising.
It's on the way up.
Beautiful.
And then with his stock on the way down is my keeper, Rashad White. Man, I don't know, man. Like, his backup, Bucky Irving, looks like the better running back, right? So that's not good. I have him on my team as well, so it's not the worst.
It's a good insurance policy.
But I mean, like, Rashad really banks on catching passes. He's a PPR king, but if he's not going to be the primary running back, it's going to be tough for him to keep putting up numbers every week. And we'll see. Hopefully this week was an outlier, but as of right now, his stock is down.
I think if his injury doesn't affect his play, that he'll have much better weeks ahead. I'm going to highlight Terry McLaurin.
Ooh,
whose
scary Terry.
stock
That's
is
scary.
fallen. It is not very scary at all. You know what's scary? Through 2 weeks, he's caught 8 passes on 12 targets for 39 yards.
Eesh.
2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, his quarterback is not that great at throwing the ball.
I still think he's good. I just don't think he's looking for Terry. I think we're going to see hopefully an uptrend with Terry McLaurin, but for now, he's heading down.
Yeah, I mean, Jaden Daniels, his knock in college was throwing over the middle of the field. I don't see Terry making huge numbers on the outside like that. I feel like he needs those crossers. He needs that in his repertoire. And with a rookie quarterback, he's a smaller guy. It might be hard for him to just find him. He's used to throwing to Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas, you know? Brandon Ayuk and, you know, guys like Bourne from the Patriots, Kendrick Bourne. So it's like, these are bigger guys. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how they do together.
I'm hoping Terry does better because my wife has the Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin stack.
Ooh,
Yeah,
so
it's gonna.
sad.
I think it'll work out. Anyways, moving along.
Sly as a fox.
Hey.
So our Sly as a Fox segment will figure out who made the most sly move this week. Pascal's gonna set it off with his pick.
So I'm going with Salute Your Short Fellows. He picked up Jordan Mason. And I know
Yeah.
we picked him up last week, but he is still going off.
The value
And
is it just
yeah,
keeps
it's
increasing
just
every
right.
day with all this news coming in.
In his first 2 games, he's put up 39.6 points,
Damn.
running for 247 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And he looks good doing it. He
It's
looks
impressive.
like a beast.
It's impressive.
It's a downhill runner, man. The
Good
guy's-
on you for picking him up. I know that you had Christian McCaffrey, so it made sense for you to do it, but you got him before anyone else did, and he's been helping you put up top 2 scoring weeks. So
Yeah.
kudos to you.
Yeah, I mean, knowing that McCaffrey was questionable, you should have drafted him, but you got lucky that nobody jumped on him before because nobody expected him to be as outstanding as he is. My Sly as a Fox pick and move this week goes to Great. Added Josh Downs in waivers this morning. Downs will sop up all the deep plays that Alec Pierce and Ashton Doolin have been enjoying. There's not that much action going on in Indianapolis, but I think he's basically going to become the downfield threat. And Anthony Richardson, when he can get out of the pocket, he loves airing that ball down the field, and he could throw it deep. So stay
it's
tuned.
It's not like A.D. Mitchell, their rookie second rounder, is really playing overly well. Alec Pierce is putting up numbers, but
Josh Downs is gonna slot right in there behind Pittman in terms of targets and
Yeah.
probably outperform him. Hopefully not.
maybe we'll see.
So that was Sly as a Fox, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, especially Longfellow and Colin. So next we're gonna go on to the game plan. Now, a quick fantasy education piece for you guys today. The game plan. We want to dig into trades. This has been a heavy trade episode. We've been talking a lot about trades. So I just want to let you guys know, trading should always be good for both parties. And it can be. Too many people are, who won the trade? You only find that out later in the season after the performances of the players. But at the time, it should help each team with a need that they have. And the main thing is, where there's a need, there is absolutely trade potential. If you have any needs, there's a trade waiting for you to be had. And when you make these trades, you feel really good about them. And both players are allowed to feel really good about their trades, because you might think you're winning it, but you also got to realize you're boosting both teams' values in certain areas that they lacked before.
So when you're looking to make a trade, the easiest way to make sure that it's balanced for both sides is look at what each player scored in the previous weeks and try to make that even. So if you're trading one guy who's averaging 17 points and another guy who's averaging 7, then whoever you're trading the other side with, they should be averaging around 25 points per week also. So maybe one guy that's averaging 25 points and one guy that's averaging nothing, right? Now, there is some hidden value if you're looking at people that maybe are coming back off injury and they're still getting their feet under them, then maybe their later in the year points are worth a little bit more. Or maybe someone who is in a committee where the other person is coming back from injury, so their points are going to go down. There are ways to adjust for that, but overall, that's kind of what you're looking for is people that make that point average about the same.
And if the average isn't that close, then you need to come with a reason for what variable gives value to make up for the difference.
Right. So let's say I'm trying to trade for Alvin Kamara, who is averaging, let's say he's averaging 40 points a game, which he's not, but let's say he is. I might be trying to trade someone who averages, two guys who average 15 points, so it ends up only being 30 to Kamara's 40, but both of those guys would be starters on the team Kamara's coming from. So I'm giving you 2 starters, but only getting back 1.
Yeah, it makes sense. I actually put together a couple example trades, which are pretty even and good trades. I actually offered one
to you.
Well,
good and even to you.
Let's see what you guys think.
All right.
I actually sent one to Captain Cannabis. I sent him Michael Pittman, who is currently the wide receiver 61, but the number 1 on the Colts and the target volume leader. And Devin Singletary, who's the starting running back in the Giants, currently running back 25, so he's like a low-end RB2, high-end RB3. For Deontay Johnson, who is a lower-tiered wide receiver on a bad team, and Travis Etienne, who is running back 21. So a running back that has a little bit more value and a receiver that has a little less value. I'm trying to boost my running back room, obviously, and Sean could get some receiving help with another starting running back. So it is in my mind, a fair trade, and I really hope he considers it.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, I think that's a good place to look. 2 high upside guys who are underperforming and 2 starters who have some risk going into the rest of the season. Now, where this might not work out so well is that you're basically just trading 2 of the same positions, whereas he might not be willing to take that volatility. Like Etienne has a higher upside than either of the 2 guys you're sending over.
But does he?
Maybe. Well, yeah, higher upside because he
after 2 weeks. I don't know.
No, based off of last year. Because all of those guys are underperforming where you'd want them to be at.
Yeah.
But he's probably the highest upside guy in the trade.
Okay.
But I mean, he also could lose his starting position to Tank Bigsby, who's been playing really well.
That's true. Yeah.
The last year and a half. So, yeah, I think that's a pretty good one. I do think that if you add in a little more variety, then you could like kind of pick on like where people are feeling deficient.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you try to trade a wide receiver and a running back for 2 wide receivers or for 2 running backs. But I think that this is good for a value standpoint.
Another type of trade, which is a little bit different, would be, for example, if I were to offer Colin, J.K. Dobbins, who's currently the running back 4 for Joe Mixon, who's currently the running back 11 and also has a lingering injury, which doesn't seem too serious. But Joe Mixon has high volume, little bit of an injury issue, and a lower ranking. And J.K. Dobbins has lower volume, high performance both weeks, a higher ranking. So it's kind of, before the season, this would be way, way off because I think Colin drafted Mixon in like the 3rd round or something. And I drafted Dobbins in the 10th or 11th round. Actually, I didn't have a 10th pick. So I think it was the 11th round that I got him. So obviously the draft value, it leans favorably in Joe Mixon's corner. But, after 2 weeks, a lot of things change.
Value. The keeper value definitely is in Dobbins's.
Oh, yeah. If Dobbins continues to be the RB1 on the Chargers, then for sure his keeper value will be strong. And that's part of the risk,
right? Is that Dobbins, not only does he have Gus Edwards behind him, who has not been getting
ahead
play,
of him, which is crazy. That's how it started.
J.K. Dobbins also has an injury history that you have to be worried of. And so it's funny that Joe Mixon is hurt right now.
Because he's never hurt.
Right, he's never hurt. Yeah. But so that brings some risk into it for both sides, yeah. But I like it. I like it. It's
interesting. I mean, I hope I didn't offer that to Colin, but if he's interested in it, maybe you can send it my way.
I feel like this is another one where it would have been more helpful for you to go for like running back versus wide receiver, maybe even a quarterback.
Yeah.
Like if you wanted someone like Josh Allen or something like. But as far as value goes, I like the risk reward for both of them.
Yeah. Pretty good. Thanks. I put a little time into those. So,
and we have more breaking news. Cooper Kupp avoids IR.
Oh, Sean. Hey, we got some good news. I guess the rain will stop.
Right. They expect him to be back in the next 4 weeks. So
great. That's great. Good for Sean and any Cooper Kupp owners.
Totally.
So, all right. Well, thanks for the tuning into the game plan. Here is the next segment before we sign off.
Parallel universe.
So we're going to take you down a quick stroll into the parallel universe. Wanted to cover some information on Jay's league, the Lions Den, about stat corrections. Now, stat corrections are very heavy when it comes to an IDP league because the independent defensive players, like I said earlier in the podcast, are a lot of things change with the stats as the NFL reviews them, and usually on Wednesday they release all the stat corrections. Hopefully I still have a W in that league, but one of the wins will be wiped off the board if I don't, because I was up by less than 0.5. 2 years ago, I won 2 weeks in a row, which were wiped out by stat corrections.
Ouch.
Yeah. It was so brutal because I was 0-1, I think, and then I went 1-1, then 0-2. Then I went 1-2, then I went 0-3, and it was just rough. Like I never returned from that. It was really tough. So I'm worried about this week. Just to say, I don't even want to check it. So, and then in the family league, we have a newcomer alert. FEL Fernando, my wife's sister's husband,
otherwise known as
Fel.
Your brother-in-law.
My brother-in-law. Oh yeah, I'm getting used to these new terms. So Fernando is currently in first place after 2 weeks with almost 300 fantasy points. 1 week 2 with 166 plus points.
Wow. While
playing both Jordan Mason and CMC in his starting lineup.
Wow.
Not only that, he also had Tyler Lockett with 3.4 on the board and didn't have Alvin Kamara with the 44.
Kamara was on his bench?
No, he was not even on his team.
Oh, he doesn't have
So the 166 gets boosted up by that 44, but he had a lot of really outstanding players.
Wow, good for him.
And, you know, he did really good. So we'll see.
Good squad.
You know, it's his first year in fantasy, so we'll see how it turns out. I'm quite excited. So good stuff, Fernando.
And then for me, I've been following the Punter League. Unfortunately, I don't have any updates because when they did their podcast last week, I didn't write it down. But the scores are really interesting. You have people winning with negative scores. You've got people winning like That's 4 awesome. To negative 12.
I didn't even realize this was an actual league right now. I thought this was like a league you read about in the past.
No, this is a league that's currently going on. This is awesome. I reached out to 2 of the guys who are in the league to see if I can get access to it so I can talk about it on the podcast. But
Or
I just think
screenshots
I just think
or
it's
something.
really cool. You're just like to switch up your brain and how you think about fantasy and winning with negative points.
Yeah. That's awesome. Shoot, you lost with negative points this week. That interception by Hurts. Oh, man.
man.
Just had to revisit it one more
hurts.
time.
But
So we're about to close out. Before we close out, we always think about our animals, and we visit the
doghouse. All right, so I'm gonna let you go first this week again.
All right. So my doghouse candidate winner for this week, loser.
You loser.
This week I'm gonna have to switch gears and go with Kyle. I'm lying. I'm sticking with Aggie and his stupid name. And
Man, really?
I can't stand it.
Again?
It doesn't even personally bother me. It just I don't like talking about my fantasy league and being like, oh yeah, I beat this dude. I fucks your mom. What?
Hold on,
Like
what?
yeah, like
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I still don't mind it, but like 3
Ah.
weeks in a row?
dude. What about like the slippery salamanders or something fun?
What? The fuck? Yo, I mean, here, I will say this.
It would
I
be
will
so
say
funny
this.
if you changed it.
Of all, that would be hilarious. Of all the weeks, I think that this is the most appropriate considering we got some name changes.
Yes.
And they were bangers.
Yeah, they were.
bangers.
Yeah, all
So,
three of them.
I'll give you a pass this week.
are good.
But like, if you do it again next week, I don't know, bro.
I don't know, man. We got to have Aggie in as the first guest so we could just dog him the whole time, not even talk about anything except his team name. You're in the doghouse, Aggie. Stay there.
All right, and so for me, my doghouse is going to Sean Dennehy.
Oh,
Bro.
Shawnee.
What bro? Seriously, 76 points, and you had the biggest deficit of this week. Yeah, I'm sorry, man, but you got to go in the doghouse. I mean, you're a 2-time winner in this league, 2 times in a row at that, and you're allowing yourself to be in the shitter every year that you're not winning. I don't know, man. You're in the doghouse for me this week.
You might want to clear your wide receiver board and just take everybody on the top of free agency.
That might be a good idea,
Right.
actually. You should start making some trades, bro.
Better days are ahead, I imagine. And that's pretty much it, guys. We appreciate you listening in. If you were here the whole time, thank you once again for tuning in to the Put It In There podcast. And always remember when setting your lineup to
put it in the air.
This
Is the Put It In The Air podcast.
Do you really think Sean's going to be that bad this year?
I don't know, man. It's only 2 weeks, but this is pretty embarrassing. And I mean, you got Puka out for the majority of the year. Coop, like,
At least
he's
you
gonna
got the
come
good
back.
cup news.
But I mean, re-injury risk, it's tough.
I think Marv and Longfellow are looking like two of the strongest competitors
It's
now.
early.
I know it's early, and
It's
they had a good week.
Yeah,
2 good weeks.
yeah. I mean, they're always strong though. So,
Who's the other undefeated team?
Boston Bulldogs.
Oh, that's a surprise.
I mean, he got pretty good matchups, you know.
He's usually chilling in the basement
Yeah.
with
He might
Sean
be back soon.
and Scott and Aggie and me.
That's actually pretty true.
Now he gets to accompany Colin. See ya.
Peace. Oh, I have to do this.
Yeah,
Alright.
you gotta stop it.